Hi, it's the Irish Gypsy here to bring you your November 2017 general readings. Thank you so much for joining us here today. Welcome to any newcomers. Always, thank you for continuing to like, share, subscribe, and follow my YouTube channel, and for taking the time to send all your lovely support, feedback, and comments. Keep them coming. You guys are brilliant. And a big thank you to those of you who continue to keep me so occupied and busy in doing personal one-on-one readings to both my new clients and my regular clients as well. It's, as I always say and mean, it's an honor and a pleasure to read for you, and I'm grateful to be able to do so. If any of you are interested in a personal one-on-one reading with me and you haven't read with me before, or you have and you've forgotten the information, you can go to my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel's homepage, click on the About button, which is towards the top, and that'll give you a little bit more information about me, what I do, the services I offer. I do a wide variety of readings, love and romance, of course, compatibility, charting, career, work and finance, financial investment. I do 6 and 12-month overviews that cover every main area of your life, or just focused on specific ones if you like. I do channeled messages, cleansing, mentoring, all different kinds of things in all different lengths of time, both live or recorded. Turnaround time's pretty fast. I can almost always get back with you within the first day of initial contact with information. And I do readings full-time, 5 to 6 days a week. It is what I do. So scheduling a personal reading, live or recorded, can be as soon as a few days or upwards of 3 weeks, but almost always within a 1 to 3 week period of time, we can schedule a reading for you. It's usually within a few days to 2 weeks. So if you're interested, my contact information is there as well. You can email me at Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I would be delighted to work with you. And for those of you who just have 1 or 2 quick questions or looking for a short, very short little read, same day answers. For those of you who have smartphones, you can also find me on the Instant Go app under Irish Gypsy, and there is a link also under the About button that will take you directly to that. For those of you who want more complex or specific spreads, deeper looks at things, then traditional readings are best. But this is if you have like a quick decision to make on the fly, a fast question or two, or you're looking for something really short, you want to touch base on something really quickly. It's a good way to get an immediate answer, usually within the same hour or two, definitely within the same day, unless it's the middle of the night, of course. So that is the Instant Go app for smartphones, and you can find the link to my profile that'll take you directly there under the About button as well. Everybody else, just email me at Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com for the more in-depth personal readings, and we will go from there. So make sure to check your rising and your moon sign videos as well. They may play out a little more predictively or resonate a little bit better for you sometimes than your primary sun sign. And just watching all 3, if you know them and if you can, gives you as large, as comprehensive a picture of what's going on in your life as possible for the time frame that the reading covers. Because these are general readings. The reason we advise you do that is because these are general readings. There's so many of you watching, thousands of you watching. So they're not going to mean the same thing to the same degree and intensity in the same area of your life for everybody that watches, because that would be impossible. Some of you, it might be in the love and romance or other relationship areas of your life. Some of you, it might be in money, career and work, job, things like that, spirituality. Try to watch all 3 if you can. All right, let's get into this. I know some of you really hate the long intros. Just fast forward right through them until you see me start to hold up the cards, which is almost now. This reading is for Libra, the air sign of Libra, for the month of November 2017. Libra, the month of 2017. What does November have in store for our Librans? I feel almost an aggressive energy. We have the Knight of Wands with the 6 of Pentacles. We have the Devil with the 5 of Wands. We have the 2 of Pentacles with the Hierophant, and the Lovers with the 7 of Wands. From the bottom of the deck, your overall energy and guidance is temperance, balance, and I can see why. Looks like a lot of you may be embroiled in an argument or conflict of some kind. It could be just against one another or with another person or an organization. Some of you, it may be related to money, the borrowing or lending of money. could be some of you are fighting somebody else's fight or being manipulated or maneuvered into fighting somebody else's battle. So I'm going to start with your crowning card, Libra, which is the Major Arcana card of Temperance. The interesting thing, too, is that you have 4 Major Arcana cards here. So out of 9, almost half your spread is Major Arcana cards, which is significant energy, God, Spirit, your angels, and guides, which shows that this process, whatever this represents in your life, is fairly significant over the month of November and will have fairly significant ramifications, the outcome, and I think it has to do with honor and integrity and character as well. So an important month for you in regards to this issue. And the interesting thing is that out of these 4, it's almost as if the energy is kind of split 2 and 2. We have Temperance and the Lovers, which speaks of staying balanced and making significant decisions. And then Temperance and the Hierophant, which speaks of balance, being grounded, convention, tradition. And then we have the Devil and the Lovers, which is pretty significant imbalance. Can also speak to relationships, and the Lovers, which speaks of needing to make a significant decision that will perhaps affect quite significantly a primary relationship in your life, regardless of the nature of that relationship. Again, while the specifics will play out differently, perhaps in different areas of your life, because there's so many of you watching, the energy fundamentally remains the same, as I always say. So your crowning card is Temperance. This is a card of Temperance, being in the middle, staying balanced and grounded, and particularly in terms of conflict or balance. This isn't a conflict or battle, a struggle with somebody or somebody's group of people. This is about knowing who you are, where you are, what's right for you, and standing firm in that as well, because Temperance means standing in the middle of opposite extremes, or staying balanced in the middle of opposite extremes. In the culinary world, tempering something means to bring something of opposite temperatures, like hot and cold, together, but in a slow, gradual, blending sort of way. Because if you dump them together all at once, they won't blend. It's too much. So it's about holding opposite extremes in unison and harmony, kind of staying in the middle. And the middle is being grounded in yourself, grounded in what you know to be right and true in this situation, both in the situation itself and your ethics, your own character and honor. So your overall energy and guidance is to stay grounded, stay focused on what you know to be true and right throughout the month of November in whatever you do, but particularly those of you who are going through a conflict, a battle, a struggle, a fight of some kind. So we have the Knight of Wands and the Six of Pentacles as we move into the month of November. I am recording these in the last week of October. So Wands is fire energy. It's the energy of creativity. It's the energy of unformed, it's kind of unformed creative energy that you can use to build things, to create things, and to manifest. It's creative, building, manifesting energy. It's because it's fire, it's active, fluid. It often points to artistic, creative things, enthusiastic, passionate emotions and feelings. It's very fluid, forward-moving. Knights are the bringers, the deliverers of the tarot. They can also represent the speed at which a situation moves, because all of those knights are known for being spontaneous and impulsive because they're knights. That's what they're known for, charging off for missions and quests and bringing back, delivering results. They can often represent offers or opportunities, what you're being called to seize upon. And the Knight of Wands, out of all 4 of them, is the fastest moving because he's fueled, he's powered, he's driven by the element of fire. It can also represent a fire sign individual who might be significant over the month of November. Leo, Aries, Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, or Rising. Very fast-moving situation being brought in, and there seems to be a fair amount of intensity, urgency, and passion around it. Now, it's paired with the Six of Pentacles. Here we have Earth energy, which is the element which governs the suit of Pentacles. And in this suit, in the tarot, this energy usually manifests in an earthly way. Solid things, things we can see and touch and feel, tangible things. And often it points to things like money, finance, property, resources, assets, etc. Things in that concrete day-to-day world we live in. But on an energetic level, you can, of course, transfer it into any area of your life. But it does represent, results, hard work, efforts, things that are tangible or that we're working towards being tangible. So the Six of Pentacles is a card of equality, tit for tat, give and take, can represent equal giving, equal receiving, or needing to be more open to being giving or receiving, or more generous or open. There is a cautionary advice with the Six of Pentacles too. I often pick up about paying attention to where you're giving of yourself, whether that's in literal dollars and cents, your time, your energy, your experience, your resources, your love, your caring. At first glance, this man is appearing to be quite philanthropic. He's obviously wealthy. He's wearing these silky looking clothes. He has a lot of resources. He's weighing them out and periodically throwing handfuls of them out the window to these waiting, grasping hands. Everything on a tarot card has a meaning. It's symbolic. But he's not paying attention to where they're going. Are they going to where he intends them to go? Is he paying attention to where they're going? Are they falling on the wayside? Are the right people having them? Sometimes this can also be cautionary advice on paying attention to where you're spending your money or spending of yourself, your resources, your time, and even your love. In relationships, this would represent a relationship of equality, a mutual affection, equal love and respect, equal give and take. In work, career, finance, or projects, this can represent a mutually beneficial relationship or partnership. But on a very basic fundamental level, it's even giving and receiving. And paired with the Knight of Wands, because there's so much conflict somewhere, there's like a struggle here. Somebody, Libra, may be asking you, coming in rather quickly at the end of October, the beginning of November, or rather urgently, maybe coming in and asking you for money. You may be asking someone else for money. I actually feel like it is that for some of you, and for some of you it's a parent-child. And the child might be an adult child, or you, especially if, you could be on either side of this in regards to money. For some of you, this is it all comes back to a specific relationship. It's just that for everybody watching, that the nature of that relationship is going to vary. Some of you, this may be, you asking parents for money. I guess it could be parents asking you for money, children asking you for money. Could be grown children for some of you. In relationships, it also could be a struggle for equality or for how much freedom you're getting, because I'm feeling that as well. I'm kind of getting that story as well. There may be a struggle, and it could be a struggle, a parental struggle too. It could be that you have, like a teenager, because the Knight of Wands in terms of maturity, pages being young people and children, when you look at them as specific individuals, Knights are usually that spontaneous, impulsive energy, maybe teenagers, young adults. So it could be that there's this push and pull struggle for some of you with parents, or with a child who's fighting for more independence or struggling for more equality, freedom, independence in a work or job situation. This could be, a push and pull for how much freedom you have at work, how much decision-making ability you have at work, and within a perhaps love or romance relationship or a marriage or that sort of union or partnership. It could be about what's fair. Perhaps you're struggling with who's carrying more of the weight or doing more work in the relationship itself, whether that's on an emotional level or perhaps even on a physical or financial level. You may feel like there's unevenness and inequality here. And that's echoed by the next couple of sets of cards. We next go into the Devil and the Five of Wands. So the Devil is another major arcana card that speaks of imbalance. But because it's imbalance, because it's a major arcana card, so very powerful energy here, this is not a minor imbalance. This is significant and profound imbalance. Things being out of whack. This can represent addictions, conventional addictions like drugs, alcohol, sex, shopping, gambling. It can represent very strong vices or temptations, desires. It can represent unhealthy relationships, too much obsessiveness, neediness. I mean, what is imbalance? Fundamentally, it's too much energy and attention in one place in your life or in one thing to the detriment and exclusion of others. It's a healthy life is a balanced life. A healthy relationship is a balanced relationship. So this is the scales being out of whack. Significant, profound imbalance here. Very up and down energy. Unhealthy. Now, the Devil is accompanied by the Five of Wands, which is another card of conflict. in some, on its own, it can represent minor conflicts like petty squabbling, arguing about the same thing over and over again, because you can see that the men in this environment are, they're sparring, they're practice weapons, they're not real swords, they're not out to kill each other for blood, they're practicing sparring. So on its own, the conflict can represent petty or minor squabbling or arguing, but paired with the Devil card, it takes it kind of to a new level. It elevates it. So it looks like this is a, whatever this conflict or struggle is, it looks like it's quite intense. You do have 3 Wands cards, which is a fair amount of fire too. So there's a lot of intensity to this. And there could be a circular aspect to it, particularly if it's, you know, an ongoing struggle for freedom or equality, choices and decisions within a parent, young person relationship, perhaps within a employer-employee, or, you know, in a romantic union or partnership. It can also represent, you know, this like the source of contention being old, meaning this is an argument that you continue to have over and over again in terms of what's fair, what's right, who's doing what, who's pulling their weight, how much freedom you get, what decisions you're able to make, etc. Regardless of the nature of the relationship or what area of your life it's reflecting, and the energy is still the same. Looks pretty intense and emotional and passionate right now. So next to that, we have the Two of Pentacles, followed by the Hierophant. Now, the Two of Pentacles on its own is a card of being busy, being successful, perhaps, you know, because he's juggling things. It can represent being successful in what you're doing, particularly if you're using unorthodox methods in which to, you know, keep everything up in the air or to accomplish something. There's a certain sense of kind of freedom, going your own way, almost kind of the Joker, very independent, you know, going your own way and using your own methods, your own tools, your own ideas to achieve something, which is maybe off the beaten path or away from how the group would do it. Paired with the Hierophant, which is the kind of opposite energy. The Hierophant is about the establishment, convention, tradition, walking the prescribed path, taking the next, you know, step that seems reasonable in the process of things, not walking on the grass, coloring within the lines, you know, organized institutions, corporations, religions, etc. There is a certain sacrifice of expression, self-expression, and individuality with the Hierophant sometimes, but the payoff is that you get the umbrella of that shelter of the group, the organization, of belonging, of everybody kind of, you know, doing the same thing. You know, it depends on how it falls in a spread, but paired together, the Two of Pentacles and the Hierophant, it's when these two show up together, it's like the classic power struggle couple. You've got the Two of Pentacles here, who's, you know, kind of off wanting to do his own thing, using his own methods, doing his own thing, and you've got the Hierophant over here who's going, that's not the way we do things. No, you can't have that kind of freedom, because then we'd have to give it to everybody else, and then it would be chaos. And it is just kind of this classic kind of power struggle, which again is echoed throughout this entire reading. There's some points I want to make about some deeper meanings when, like, the Devil shows up and the Hierophant shows up too, but I want to get through the last 2 sets of cards before we touch on that. So at or towards the end of November 2017, time being somewhat fluid, as I always say, we have the Lovers and the Seven of Wands. This is turning out to be one of the longer readings I've done out of all the ones I've done so far, but it's so fascinating and it's very rich, even though there is a fair amount of conflict here. which you can look at as negative. I sometimes get comments, I'm sure other readers too, why is this so negative this month? I always look for the positive and bring it out in a reading too. Remember this looks difficult and challenging, but when this comes up, remember this guidance, remember this advice. But I'm not going to lie, when it looks like there's conflict within the month, I'm going to state that conflict to the best of my ability, what I feel it is, but there's always a bright foundation and guidance and advice to take too that can help you deal with it, and sometimes even lessen or negate it as well. So I always try to touch on that. It's not like altogether a negative month, but there is something that is ongoing that needs to be dealt with, and there's advice on how to do that. We've already looked at some of that with your crowning card of Temperance. So Lovers and the Seven of Wands towards the end of the month, or the last half of the month, perhaps going into a little bit of December. The Lovers can represent a very connective union, a very passionate relationship. Now, this can be the kind of relationship as in soulmate, kindred spirit, love and romance, a high degree of passion, and a fair amount of sexual energy too. There's no lack of heat in this relationship. If it's a romantically based one, they obviously have sparks. It's a significant relationship, though, and a very connective one, and it's major arcana card, so it does imply a karmic thread there as well. The Lovers also represents needing to make a choice, a decision that is significant and will have significant consequences and outcomes, which will likely affect a primary or significant relationship in your life. Again, that relationship might vary because this is a general reading. It could be love and romance, spouse, that kind of union or partnership, a best friend, like your sisterhood, brotherhood energy. It could be your primary work relationship or the relationship you have with your boss. It could be in an important project, and even in the path of spirituality, although this isn't one I would usually see coming up for that. But there's a fair amount of passion, of heat, of emotion in this relationship, and it represents needing to make a decision that's going to perhaps probably affect it in a significant way. In the early tarot decks, this was not called the Lovers, it was called the Choice. Showed a man standing in front of two women. Again, doesn't necessarily mean infidelity, having to choose between two people or anything of that sort. It can, but it means needing to make a significant choice. We're not talking about what to wear, what cereal you're going to eat this morning, something which is going to affect your life, the life of a significant relationship, other people. Now, it's paired with the Seven of Wands, more fire energy here. This is a card, as you can see, of defensiveness, protectiveness, guarding, defending, protecting something because you believe strongly in it. It could be yourself, another person, a belief system or ideal, something that you feel a sense of ownership or protection over because of how the connection you have, how much you have invested in it. It could be a relationship, a job, again, belief system or a set of ideals. The important thing to remember here is that this defensive protective stance he's in makes him superior, stronger than these wands, and he's constantly watching and assessing to see what the danger is or where he needs to be protective, defended, and guarded. He knows his own mind. He obviously believes quite strongly in what he's defending, and he's not willing to give up. So it's about standing by what you believe is right and true within whatever this conflict, this situation, this struggle is. Regardless of where it's manifesting in your life, that energy is the same. And needing to make kind of a decision perhaps at the end of the month on whether it's worth continuing to fight the battle. So now I'm going to go back and look at this as a whole, kind of pull all the cards together because I feel compelled to do so. I'm being told to do so. This struggle that you're in, this conflict with another person or within a group, or even an organization, the devil is present here with the Seven of Wands and the Lovers. And the presence of both of them in a reading can signify that you may be fighting another person's battle for them, or you may be manipulated or maneuvered into doing it for them when they should be doing it for themselves, or when it's a battle that doesn't necessarily need to be fought. So you may want to take a look if it's one person that you're fighting for. Make sure that they're not kind of using or manipulating or maneuvering you into this battle for them when they are either capable of doing it themselves or with help or if it's not necessary. The presence of the Hierophant in this reading, particularly with the Seven of Wands, can represent that this is a bigger battle for a bigger cause, or you may be being talked into or convinced to be part of a bigger battle or fighting a bigger cause, when in fact it might not be entirely necessary, or it might be able to be resolved through other means. So take a look at that. For those of you for whom this reading resonates, you're being caught up in some kind of conflict, power struggle, fight. Take a look at your motives and reasons for being there, for what you're fighting or defending, what your position is, and particularly if it's in connection of doing it for somebody else or because you've been convinced by somebody else, make sure that you believe in the same things that they believe in. Otherwise, there's no point in your being in this struggle. And which goes back to your foundational guidance and advice for the month of November throughout this, which is temperance. Temperance is being grounded. What does that actually mean? Particularly in this situation, it means I know who I am, I know what I believe in, I know what's right, and that's what I'm standing by and guarding at the end of the day. So that's your ultimate foundational advice, especially when you find yourself at the end of the month. You may be in this position of trying to make a really important choice or decision on whether this is something that you really believe in, something that you really want to fight, or something that is even necessary to fight. It may be, it may not be. It's going to vary per person. Boy, the morning light is just blasting through the windows, and it continues to change the lighting. So, a really interesting, powerful reading. And I suppose if you wanted to take a negative perspective, you could always do that. But I actually think it's quite interesting. It feels significant and important. And I feel like you're at the end of the month, and after this is over and into December, you may feel like you've gained some wisdom, insight, and knowledge about yourself in particular, which is always a beautiful thing because that's why we're here, to grow and evolve on the path. So that pretty much sums up your reading for November 2017, Libra. I hope you have enjoyed it. I hope that you found it useful, that it perhaps provided some guidance or insight, or at least validation for you in this situation. Again, pretty interesting. So again, if any of you are interested in a personal one-on-one reading with me, go to my YouTube channel's homepage, click on that About button for more information, and my contact info, which is Maggie1McGuire@gmail.com. I would be most happy to work with you just as soon as possible. And for those quick, instant questions, or you need to touch base on something, have to make a quick decision, need just a really short, same-day sort of read, and it's not too deep or complex, or you're just looking for, one short answer, you can also find me on the smartphone app of Instant Go under Irish Gypsy, and that link is also under the About button. So it's a great new way of keeping me at your fingertips on the fly for really quick little things. I will see you all again in a couple of weeks, Libra, for the November 2017 mid-month readings. Until then, as always, I wish each and every one of you joy, peace, blessings, and a happy life. And I hope to see you back here again soon. Take care. Bye-bye.